And welcome to another episode of Tea Time with Mother and Crone. Technical difficulties again, we're working on them. Welcome with us. Today we have a couple different kinds of teas, and we're going to let Melinda tell you about what she's got in her cup.
Yes, so I have, so actually last week after the show, my throat started hurting Sunday night, and we were talking about this time of year is the time of year for colds and flus and allergies and sniffles, and lo and behold, I got it, allergies, sore throat. So I have a couple different things in my tea today, but the main ingredient is licorice root. And licorice root, is an acquired taste. It tastes like black licorice candy. So I have to add plenty of honey in it, which is also good for the throat. But licorice root is very good for colds and flus. It breaks up the phlegm. It opens up your airways. It's also good for a dry cough. But other than that, it is also good for reducing stress. It's also good for, of course, soothing the throat, but it also protects the liver. If you have the actual root, you can even use it as a toothbrush, and it helps with your strengthening your teeth and even whitening your teeth. It's also an antiviral and anti-inflammatory. So it does quite a bit of things. And magically, it's good for fidelity and, building strength and partnership, also love. There's a lot of good things for that as well. And as far as the reducing stress, it boosts your adrenals. So that's how it's able to help reduce the stress. But you always want to consult with doctors, because with licorice root, sometimes it's not recommended if you're pregnant. So always consult with the herbs that you're taking, or if you start doing a herbal regimen for yourself, make sure that it's not going to interfere with anything else that you're doing or any conditions that you have. But it's been helping.
I was going to ask, is it helping any? That's the main thing. When Melinda said she wasn't filled, but for some reason I have my cousin's daughter on my mind, so we're going to move her out. I was thinking about sore throats. Now, when I was little, we used to do the honey for the sore throat, but she was talking about licorice root, and I got, I'm not crazy about the actual licorice root, but I do like, and now this is where we have fun, anise. But I prefer the star anise, which is completely different than anise or aniseed. Aniseed comes from a plant, and it's related to the dill, cumin, fennel, caraway family, where star, wonderful little star, this is actually the fruit of the plant, and it's a different plant, and it's in the same family as the magnolia tree. That was kind of cool. And the flavor in this is much more potent, very strong. Again, it's a black licorice, and I was the one stealing all the black licorice jelly beans, so I like it. It's not just good for your respiratory infections and sore throats and things. It is great for nausea, constipation, and after you eat a big meal, you feel like, your stomach's out 4 foot. Take a cup of star anise tea and drink it, and it'll reduce the bloating in your stomach. So it's good for your digestive. It also has some really neat abilities in some of these. Of course, they're not 100% confirmed, but we like them anyway. It's rich in antioxidants, vitamin A and C, so you can't go wrong with that one. And the oil also contains a lot of different other chemicals in it, and it's used for treating cough and flu. Go figure. It also helps with digestion, like I said earlier, relieves nausea, relieves some cramping. After meals, it's great to release bloating, but they claim if you drink 1 glass of water infused with the crushed seeds at night, it will increase your sex drive. Of course, caught in my eye. So now, if you just have a sore throat or you're not feeling good, does tea help? Believe it or not, when you have a sore throat, cup of tea, it's the soothing, the warmth, the flavor, and the aroma. And sometimes it actually, just that alone will help release some of the stress involved. So just making yourself a cup of tea can help. It also, drinking fluids is what you need to do when your throat's dry, it gets worse. So drinking the tea helps any kind of fluids that you put in. But they're kind of claiming that for some reason, warm liquids work better than cold. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, if you've got a sore, itchy throat, you don't want to grab a cold water. You might want to grab a cup of tea or something warm. And if you put honey in it, which I don't know anybody who doesn't drink it without honey in America, the honey also has some wonderful healing properties to it by itself. So they gave a list, and Melinda, you are number 2 on the list. The first is slippery elm, licorice root, horehound, chamomile, turmeric, green tea, and then the combination teas. You know, sometimes you can buy them at the stores that are already mixed together for sore throats and stuff like that in the tea section of most of your grocery stores. So they're saying that the best thing to do is just take a cup of tea, put a little honey in it, and enjoy it. But if you can add something a little extra special, like an herb, always check that before you start ingesting anything. Especially herbs, you want to make sure it's not going to counteract or somehow influence any medication that you're already on or conditions that you already have. So please, you know, keep an eye in mind. Always ask. You can ask a doctor. You can ask an herbalist. Internet now is great. You can go on the internet and I'll tell you contraindications for using whatever herb you're looking at. But just to keep in mind, these are awesome. The teas are wonderful. This I have mine in a green tea. What is your in? What is your mixture in?
This is also a green tea. This is also infused with lemon balm, and it has lemongrass as well, but the main ingredient is licorice root. And it is one of those combination teas that, you know, specifically for like sore throats and stuff. And honestly, that's all I've been doing all week is just my licorice root tea and my tablespoon of honey, and it's worked. It's, you know, I'm resting my voice. I do have a phone job, so, you know, that where I'm talking all day, so that doesn't really help. But no, I mean, it's really, you know, and some like gargling warm salt water, of course, that helped a lot too. But yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about drinking it straight because I'm not a black licorice fan. I flicked those black jelly beans far away from me. I much prefer the red ones, or, you know, but when you add honey though, I mean, yes, it has that little black licorice little bite to it, but it's not nearly as, you know, strong. And then you're still getting the benefit of the honey as well when you mix it in there. So yeah, but it's worked great.
And don't forget when you're baking, this is used actually in Italian Christmas cookies. The licorice flavor is used in a lot of different things. There's actually licorice infused alcohol that you can purchase as a nice little dessert type drink. But keep these things in mind. You know, what's funny is you have this on your shelf, you cook with it, you never think about using it for the healing properties. We have bay leaf on our shelf, and it's like, okay, what do you do with bay leaf? A million things.
You're right.
Bay leaf is like, you know, for a witch, bay leaf is like having flour in your kitchen. You can do anything with it. So
exactly.
Start thinking nowadays, you know, more witchy. We made teas out of this for healing. So we were actually being our own healers, and we're also expanding the knowledge of what to use when you don't feel good. And if it's just a little cold that's coming along, this is the time of year where it's like almost like after the holidays, everybody gets sick. And I think it's the stress from the holidays wears you down a little bit. And now you're like, oh my God, it's over. And you're so overexhausted. And of course, with all the stress going on anyway, with what's going on in the world today, sometimes it's a little hard to remember. Start being a little bit more witchy in your kitchen, girls. Go out and buy you some of this good stuff. Put it on your shelf. I mean, I have cloves on my shelf that I cook with. And then if I'm doing something, you know, in the back of my witch room, and it's like, oh, I need cloves, I have to run out to the kitchen, you know. And I've had so many people when I've trained them over the years are like, oh, you do take out of your, I'm like, it's the
Yeah.
same.
Hmm.
The
It really
difference.
is. And even when you make your tea and you're stirring your tea, you can do, magic that way too. And like when you're cooking, whenever I do my tea and I'm stirring my clockwise, I'm setting my intention, putting my, infusing my magic and, you know, saying what I need to say to help me get that boost of get better. And we've been in the 30s and 40s here on the east coast of Florida, and then we finally warmed up back into the 60s. But when we started warming up a bit, I started noticing a little bit of yellow on the car, and I knew it was a matter of time before it was going to hit me. And sure enough, it did, because I get like this every year. My allergies are horrible. But yeah, the sore throat went first, and then Monday morning the stuffy runny nose. And but honestly, like I said, I haven't taken any medications. It's just been honey and tea and salt water, and I'm pretty much over with it. I mean, I have a little bit of residual congestion, you could probably hear, but way better than I was at the beginning of the week.
Just remember, when you do buy your herbs and you use them, if you buy them like, dehydrated kind of thing, they're only good for about a year or so, because then they start to actually break down and they will mold. They're still good for another 2 years to use as magical, because it still contains the properties. So to circle your inventory, if you have the cloves, you've had them there for a year, and they go back to the magical room, so you buy new ones for your kitchen.
Right.
That's one way, recycling, and it cuts down, because if you're like me, I am a chef. I do cook a lot, so I have a lot of herbs in my kitchen. It's a lot cheaper recycling them, especially you don't use a lot of the herbs that much. Like, this is maybe once a year. So if I don't use this for another year, it's going to go back in the magical category, marked the date when it needs to be trashed. And
Yep,
that kind of keeps it safe.
totally agree.
We have a nice show again for you today, with some interesting things happening. Just another shout out that In Bulk is, oh my gosh, almost here. So our grimoire, we're going to go to that near the end of the show, and we'll pull something out of that to make your holiday a little bit more special. If you're so inclined, there will be a ton of rituals online. We will be having our rituals for a year starting on In Bulk. So that will be our first ritual online in that series. Yay, I'm excited. And that goes off on next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, the 2nd of February. We'll actually start on Groundhog Day. So that's In Bulk, and that ought to be interesting. But right now, we have this really cool guy standing in the background who's waiting to come on. And Melinda, I want you to do the intro, because I want to hear about the song you guys are collaborating on.
Okay, well, before I talk about that, I'll introduce. So you may have heard of him in the community. His name is Cloud, the Pagan rapper. Super, super awesome guy. Someone I am proud to call a friend. We have sort of bonded recently, and of that has blossomed into a collaboration that we're working on, which was very unexpected, I will say so myself. But we have him on the show today, and we're super excited. And we're going to be talking about some of his new stuff that he has coming up, and also talking about, some of his background and some of his stuff from his first album. But without further ado, Cloud.
Hello.
Hello. Magically appeared.
Yes. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. A little under the weather, but we're doing well. We have our tea. We are doing our thing. So can't see the cup because the cup's black, but it's there. I promise.
We'll see it when it goes in front of your face.
Yeah, that's what's fun. Our cups do have our logo on them, but if we do the green background, it's like you lose parts of your body as you move
Right.
Rather interesting.
The head starts floating. So we're really excited to have you. And we know that you've been really busy on working on some new things. And for those of you out there that don't know a whole lot about Cloud and what he does or has been doing, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of explain a little bit about what you're working on and what you're doing?
Absolutely. Okay, so I am a pagan musician. Um I have my hands in many pots as well outside of the music world. Um but music is really what drives me. And basically the whole rap thing really started spawning from the YouTube channel that I have. And it's all kind of snowballed from there. Um but yeah, so basically what my goal is with the rap music that I've been writing is there's a couple of things that I'm trying to do. The first thing is to put out a depiction of pagan life as it is, without all of the whimsical and spiritual side of things, but I mean the pagan life that we live and experiences that we have as pagans within the mundane world as well. And I decided to deliver this in a hip hop format, mainly due to the storytelling involved with hip hop. And there's not a whole lot of people within the pagan community, a lot of pagan musicians out there that are writing this pagan hip hop stuff. I'm one of maybe 4 that I can name off the top of my head. So it's definitely something different, and it's something to kind of shake up the normalcy of pagan music. And yeah, so I just kind of fell into it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Well, I like it. You are definitely the first pagan rapper I've heard of. And I know that you've named a couple along the way that you've heard of. But it's really interesting because I know you and I have both talked about we're fans of old school hip hop, like 90s,
Yes.
hip hop. And it's really interesting because you do have all the pagan music, and it is as great as it is, a lot of it sounds very similar or the same, or like you said, whimsical and very it's just a lot of it kind of is in that same category. So you're really bringing something completely different to the genre by doing the hip hop. And it's really, really awesome because the cool thing about, what I love about, and I'll just say old school hip hop, is the storytelling, like you said. That's what you hear. You're talking about a story. And you write your own music. So of course it's going to be personal. You're going to get inspiration from that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just amazing what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. It's definitely personal. It's something that became personal for me, though, because originally I wrote the first song, the first rap song that I wrote. I actually wrote it as a joke, and for my YouTube channel, which at the time was called Moon Willow Magic, but now it is literally just called Cloud the Pagan Rapper. So I was doing this project called the Wicked Music Experiment, and I was writing songs within different genres of music with pagan inspired lyrics. And so I had to do a rap song. And when I did the rap song, everybody that heard it was like, dude, this is awesome. And I was like, all right. So I sat down and I tried to write a serious song, because the first song I wrote is called People Just Scared. And that song is basically just me poking fun at misconceptions and what the mundane world thinks witchcraft is. And a lot of like humor in it and all of that. So the next song I wanted to say, okay, if I can make a point, then I'll keep doing this. And then I wrote Try to Understand.
Nice.
And from there, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna write a whole album. You know, and like 3 or 4 months later, Misconceptions was ready and it was released. So
that's really awesome.
Yeah, it all happened really quick.
Because because how long have you been doing music in general?
Playing music since I was a teenager. Mostly metal and punk rock. Playing in bands and, you know, being, you know, kicking things over and, you know, being a hellion. And, you know, spent a lot of time in a lot of mosh pits, a lot of hardcore shows, stuff like that. And, you know, like, nice. I went from playing in like tough guy hardcore bands, you know, like the lyrics like, "I'm tougher than you," you know, to, you know, doing pagan rap. So let's just say my path in music has been just as crooked as my path in the craft has been. So, yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I will admit my genre at my age is not rap. I first heard and I was like, "Oh, rap. Okay." But then I did the sensible thing and I listened to quite a few of your songs. And I was like, wow, you're old school. You tell a story. So that made it different than what I was listening to on the radio. And your lyrics are, even if you're not pagan, your lyrics give you something to think about. It's not that, you know, I'm better than you, I made more money than you, or whatever. You actually have a process that you're trying to talk through. And I found that interesting because you're not just singing about what's going on, you're actually working a process. You're telling that story and working through it. Like you start here and you end up down here and you've learned something in between.
Yes. So, the album is meant to take the listener on a ride of different emotions and how, you know, we feel as pagans as we experience certain things, like such as, you know, hope. You know, when we feeling very spiritual, you know, there's a song on there for that. When we're angry, when somebody says something to us because we're witches and they call us out in public or something, there's a song for that. You know, there's songs that hopefully pagans can relate to. You know, and I really good for that purpose, I keep my lyrics very concise. Mm-hmm. And one thing you can bet on for anything that I ever write really is I'm going to say exactly what I mean. And that's like sometimes a little in your face. And, you know,
pagans tend to be that way.
Yeah.
That's okay. Sometimes it's needed. And, you know, from the first album, you know, speaking about, you know, your different experiences and things, you know, the convenience store, when, you know, it opens up with you're just going in the convenience store, getting your cup of coffee, and the person behind the counter sees your pentacle necklace and starts saying, "Oh, that's the devil." I mean, how many of us have gone through that? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so relatable. That's what I love about
it. And that song is an explosion of emotion. Mm-hmm. But it is also meant to be what we want to say.
Right.
But we don't, you know, like, and so, you know, I tie it up at the end with like, I really should have said that. It's not worth it. You know, like, because we don't a lot of times we'll bite our tongue and be like, whatever, I got to go, and we'll leave. But then we're driving to work after something like that happens and our mind is just like, you know, so. Yeah.
Nope. I mean, like that song in particular, and of course there's a lot of songs that I like from the first album. But that one, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like, because it's annoying. It's like, read a book, Google something. It's not the way it is. And, you know, it seems like half the time we're spending half of our time defending ourselves or our path. Not that we have to, but sometimes it's like, you know, because of Hollywood and just because of, you know, depending on where you live too. I'm in the South, you know, people just aren't as open-minded, and they just have a one-track mind, and if they see something, that's the way it is. And so I really like that song, because I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And it took a long time for me to wear, like my pinnacle at work, for example. But I wear it now. I mean, no one says anything, it's no different than anyone wearing, their cross or, anything else.
Right.
But that was just, it was a really good song. I like that, but I like it.
I really like on your songs too, that the information you convey is 100%. They're not Hollywood songs. We're not levitating. We're not doing, any of that kind of stuff. It's actual songs. It's actual things in the past. So, I mean, let's face it, Charmed did give us a nice little boost, because now we weren't so weird. The original Sabrina was cute and funny, and the one on Netflix now is getting interesting. But most of it, Practical Magic, was fun and all, but it really, there hasn't been something on that actually shows what we do, that shows you in a daily basis. Like, I get up, I get dressed, I go to work every morning. I interact with all my coworkers. It doesn't show like that side of us. And then I come home, I shut my door, and if it's a ritual night, I'm going to the altar, setting the altar up, getting that ready to go, or I'm got an article I got to write or something like that. It never shows us in the actual light where we're actual people, washing clothes, washing dishes, changing diapers if you still got little ones at home, all those things that make a life a life. Hollywood has never picked up on. Like, Samantha used to clean her house with the little, the little twitch of the nose, the vacuum cleaner would start going. Yeah, when I can get that down, because I would really love that one. But
yeah.
Good Lord, everybody would convert at that point. There would be no other religion if something could do housework for us.
Agreed. Absolutely. I agree with that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be so upfront with what I'm doing. Because I mean, let's face it. The main point of the album is to remind people, not just pagans, but for people who aren't pagan that would listen to the album, if they do listen to it, which would be awesome, that pagans are people too. We get up, we put our pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. It's not, this. Yeah. There's this huge misconception of what magic actually is, and that is why the album is titled Misconceptions. It's very
well, that's great, is because through your music, you're educated. That's what's so great about it. It's like not only fun, it's like not only like this awesome beat, but you're educating all at the same time. That's what's so brilliant about it.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, seriously, I can see some kids, actually younger kids, singing your music and learning.
I have come across a few, mainly some of my daughter's friends and stuff, because naturally she has a copy of my album, and she's like showing her friends like, oh, it's my dad's album, but like songs on there, for example, like Do Your Research. I mean, I can't be more concise to the pagan community than I am in that song about doing your research, and for the people who are just picking up on things, and people that are following, let's say, your social media influencers and all of that, who are really just in it for a follow count, and they're grabbing stuff off of Pinterest and talking about it. There's so much more to it than that. I mean, even when it comes from like a personal growth and self-study side of it, which isn't talked about. I mean, lately shadow work's been a hot topic on your TikToks and your Instagrams and all of that, but it wasn't for years, and you had a lot of people picking up on the craft and just thinking they're going to go off and do magic without really taking the time to get to know themselves before doing it. So that song is literally meant for that. Like, do your research.
Shadow work is interesting. That's dark moon, new moon work. And I know a lot of different groups who don't do dark moon or new moon. And it's like, wow, you miss half of you. If you only know your white side, you don't know the black side. And
Right.
we're a mixture of both, no matter how you look at it.
Precisely.
Exactly.
Trust and believe, there are days when if I did have the power, everybody around here would be on a lily pond. But Goddess broke my wand. Because that is the conception. The first thing, now I've been on the path for just over 50 years. And the first thing someone says to me is like, well, what's magic? And I'm like, life is magic. It's electric. Just think of electricity. It's all around you. It's happening all the time. You can change your life. You don't need magic. Just change your thought process. Look at something from a different perspective. But when we do the shadow work, which is the hardest part, trust me, there's times when I need to be put in my little timeout corner for not doing my shadow work. It's the tougher parts. And someone asked me one time what was the toughest part about being a witch, and this was on a show, and I told them, I said, is having to learn who I really am, because I have to take that side of me that I'm not proud of, that I don't want to associate with, and I have to talk to her daily to keep her behaved.
I mean, we all have our inner demons, if you will, or our shadow self, and basically, if you're not in constant contact with that, to be able to accept that that is a part of you, then I mean, really, you're just lying to yourself at that point.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, to be plain and simple about it. So, you know,
and
that's
you're never going to be happy.
So I actually am. The next album that I'm working on is a little more personal from that side of things. There's a couple songs where I full on beat myself up, and then there's a couple songs where I'm talking myself up like I got the biggest ego in the world. You know, it's which is kind of the same concept, but more on a personal level instead of a community level.
Right.
You know, so hopefully,
still a balance.
Yeah,
still a balance.
Well, on your Misconceptions album, I have to say I loved your song, and I did listen to the album, so I do know the words to it. Was Take a Look Around. That to me, that touched me, and I don't know why, but when I heard that song, I found myself humming it, and I think about the lyrics, and it's the way you presented and honored the goddess in the way you did it in such a way that it wasn't mushy, it wasn't putting them on a pedestal, but it was a very everyday, this is how I honor, and I really enjoyed that song. Now I understand you got a couple songs that you might be able to like play for us.
I do have a couple songs ready, which we're gonna drop some breadcrumbs for the next album. But we're gonna finish it off with a really big breadcrumb of what Rev Melinda and I are working on right now. But I actually did a collaboration with another one of our Corellian sisters, Sarah Ebony Nash. And so this song is called Vicious, and Sarah Ebony made the beat and she wrote the music for it. And so I just wrote the lyrics for it. And so what my vision was for these particular lyrics was that not every witch you come across is going to be a Wiccan. And not every witch you come across is going to be all about love and light. So if you cross some witches, there's a very good chance that you could find yourself with a puppet of you made somewhere or whatnot. So the song's called Vicious. And yeah, let me cue that up real quick. And I really do hope you guys like it. And I hope Sarah Ebony's watching right now, because that would be awesome if she is. If not, I hope she catches up on this. But yeah, this song is going to be released and available soon. We're just kind of working out the bugs and, distribution and all of that is pretty hardcore when it comes to setting everything up. So hopefully we can get this out to you guys soon. All right. Let
And
me
we'll mute ourselves so you can.
I'm going to mute myself as well while we do this, and then we'll go ahead and play it. All right. Yeah. What up, y'all? Better look out, man. Yo. Vicious. Yo. Vicious. ELN on the beat. Yo. Get him. 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 Better make good decisions. Witches can't be vicious. 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 Y'all know me and y'all know my flow. It's a silver tongue, modern bard, rhyming everywhere I go. Pick up the pace, steady killing the flow and pass the dro and go off the dome. Can't survive if you in the zone. And ELN got us tripping on half notes. Yo, you wanna be stick around for a while, man. And wanna pick up on the new style, man. ELN and Cloud cooking heat like a bake sale. Taking over your city like our name, man, to Barksdale. When it come down to the wire, man. You ain't ready to jump in this frying pan. Messing with the wrong witches and end up when I pop it up. You torn apart and covered in stitches. But wait, you hold your bridges. Let's just start getting visions. Better make good decisions. Better make good decisions, cause these witches can be vicious. Everywhere, normal people, yo, they stop and stare. Cause they feel our power, they're acting like we don't care. That's right, we don't care. Vicious. Vicious. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, girl. Better make good decisions. Witches can't be vicious. 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 Round 2. Fight! ELN got that high hat, that kind of rhythm that'll send you deep inside yourself like a surgical incision. Take it all in y'all, try to get in touch with yourself. You'll come out a little bit smarter, a little bit wiser when you're working with yourself. Now witches come in all flavors, so we can be your neighbors. Just try to exist and run to your savior. We all connect to the divine mystery in different ways. Even in this crap, there are many paths that we can take. Not all of us out there all about that love and light, man. Not all of us out there steady flexing, looking for a fight, man. Witches can be vicious depending on their path and talent, but all we really want is to achieve a sense of balance. So if you gonna play around and bring haunt you like witches, just remember that witches can be vicious. Better make good decisions. Better make good decisions. Better make good decisions, cause these witches can be vicious. Vicious. Yeah. Vicious. Yeah. Yeah. You know that's right. Better make good decisions. Witches can't be vicious. 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 Vicious. Yeah. Vicious.
That was awesome.
That was really good. Yes.
That beat is amazing.
She did awesome.
She sent it to me, and I was like, I have to. You know,
I mean, she's amazing anyway, for those of you that don't know. But I mean, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so you can definitely go and find ELN on SoundCloud. Her music is phenomenal, and I really enjoyed working with her on it. So.
Well, and I already told you my favorite was Round 2 Fight.
So, fun fact, that is not a sample. I actually recorded saying that. Yeah, that was actually me doing that, because I realized I went and found a sample of it, and then realized that I would have to get the rights to the sample for the song. And I was like, well, I'll just do it myself.
It sounded awesome. I love it.
But yeah. So that is something kind of like off to the side that I've done. And I can't thank Ebony enough for even being like, hey, you want to do this? You know, because it was amazing.
It's really awesome. Now, when you write, do you typically do the beat and then the lyrics? And I know you and I have talked about this with our collaboration, but for those of you that don't know, what's your songwriting process? So
my process is basically, now I haven't been making a whole lot of my beats for this next album. Mm-hmm. I have been searching and licensing beats. And there's a whole business process to that. So if I started talking about it, I'd put everybody to sleep. But so I have been, finding some very good beats and paying for them, because that is, it's worth it.
Yeah, nothing wrong.
You get what you pay for. You really do. And I let the beat tell me where it's going to go. Nice. Like whatever the beat sounds like, whatever vibe that I'm picking up from the beat, that's what I'm going to write about. And so I write to the beat, and I also focus on delivery while I'm writing. So I write line by line to the beat to make sure that it sounds good.
And that's a good point, because you and I are collaborating, and I wrote, and my part's not in the song yet. We'll just say that, because I'm finding my rap voice. But and then I got sick. I used to write poetry. I'm getting back into it more, making time for myself for that. So the lyrics kind of came naturally, but see, I've never done the whole song process, that's sort of, and that's what you and I kind of found out, was I had all my lyrics done, but then trying to fit it in the space that I had, and we had to kind of go in and chop some words out, and, I didn't like the way that it sounded or fit. So that makes a lot of sense. And you even asked me, did you write this before or after you heard the beat? Because I wrote it in the car line waiting to pick up my daughter at school.
Now some rappers do just have a rhyme book that they have, and they just write in and they just fit it and make it work. And then they do the wordplay to make it fit. I personally don't do that, because I feel that the music drives the song. The lyrics are, the cherry on top,
Right.
So, but if you have a song with a beat that's like meh,
right,
nobody's going to care what you're saying anyway.
Right, because it's hard to get into. Well, that's like whenever, like I heard, so when you sent me the different samples of the beats, and then I picked the one that I really, really liked for ours. And because to your point, it kind of got me in that mode. I was like, oh, I feel this, like I feel this beat. So I was like, we have to go with this one,
Right.
And the other one was great too, but for what we were trying to do with our collaboration, I was like, oh, it's totally got to be this one.
Right. Now I turned that other beat into something very good.
Yes,
which will be coming up later, but you guys will have to wait on that.
Right. No, but yeah, so that's a good point. The lyrics won't matter as much if the music's not there. If especially with the genre of rap, because let's face it, it's a whole to do about the beat. I mean, if you don't have something that hits, it's right. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point?
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, the second album is coming along very well. So I released the first album in April of last year, right dead smack in the middle of the
Right in the middle of
pandemic.
the pandemic.
You know, I've yet to do a live show um, because of the pandemic.
That was one of my questions.
Yeah, but we're getting there. We're gonna get there. I will eventually be out on the road and checking out all these festivals and coming and visiting everybody. You know.
And in the meantime, with CEM Broadcasting, we're hosting, festivals and everything else. I mean, there's a platform there to do. I mean, it's not the same thing, of course, but until we can get to that place again, that might be something to look into as well, doing a live show, that way.
Absolutely. I have done a couple. I've done a couple. But I'm just kind of hanging around going, hey, anybody need a rapper? So, yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do a little sample of our? We don't have to do.
I can.
Is it PG-13? I can't remember.
Yes, it is. Now I have another sample prepared for another song off of the new album as well, but that is not so much PG-13. But I could always cut it before it gets to that point. But so it's really up to you on where we want to go with it.
It's fine by me. We have time. If we go over, it's not a big deal.
All right. Well, I'll give you guys a little sample, like a half a verse of something that I'm working on right now, which is in the mastering process. And this song is called Preceptor. All right. And it's basically telling people to open their eyes and to realize that we as individuals are divine beings, and so why would we sit there and not embrace that individuality and become toxic individuals, repeating things that we're told to say and repeating things that are sent to us by the masses, like your media, social media ideas, and things that just breed toxicity in our society, not just our pagan community, but in society in general. And so this song, I say a lot of there's a few cuss words in there, so we're gonna cut it off before we get to that point. But yes, okay. But let me cue that up because I am very happy with where this song's going. So we're gonna do that. Absolutely. All right, and then we're gonna play a little bit of what we got going on. All right. All right. Let me mute myself up here and cue that stuff.
Five injections without any effect at all. I refuse to give up now. We'll try radiation.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Toxic. Yo, check your perceptors. Yeah. Raw with emotion, the spell that you're casting, the final outcome card, the tower, disastrous. I don't need no tarot deck to tell you what the facts is. Yo, your logic flawed is spawning from your past, man. Flying off the handle, playing on my demise. Every time I raise my fist on behalf of black lives, I just don't see a logical point in hating people, taking issue with people and don't see others as equal. Yo, live and let live, you live and let die. Then close your eyes, meditate and leave your hate behind. A cursory evaluation of your mental capabilities indicates to me you might not understand me. You're not. All
right. Saved us.
We get to a little bit of a angry cussing part from that point on, but that's just a little taste. I want to say lyrically that song is one of the better that I've written. the second verse to that song.
He loves the whole Tarot reference.
Yeah, there's also a Transformers the movie Easter egg in there. If anybody can pick it out, let me know.
Nice.
But yes, the second verse of that song really brings the point of the song together. But I just think the first like couple lines of that are amazing. So I figured I'd play them.
It was. It's very introspective when you start listening to the words.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Music, we can remember music more than we can remember anything that's told to us. For some reason, music sticks with you. My father used to say, I grew up in the 50s and 60s, so I know all like the Tommy James and the Shondells and all those, He's like, you can remember the words to 400 songs, but you can't remember to do your homework. And it was like, that was really a thought. My father didn't realize it, but it was a thought-provoking statement at the time because he was right. I could remember the words to any song on the radio, but don't ask me what my homework was.
Yep.
And it's music just I don't know, just transits time and dimensions, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, I tell my wife I'm going to take the trash out, and then I forget. Right. But if you ask me to bring back the lyrics of a song I used to listen to daily when I was 14 years old, I can still do that.
Or if you haven't listened to a song in 20 years and then you hear it all of a sudden and you can still recite every single word to it, it's like you heard it yesterday,
While you're dancing in your kitchen. Yeah.
Exactly. Music drives us as people. I mean, art in general drives us as people. It's a sign of the times that we live in, and it is something that we use to speak, and some of us use to connect with the greater universe out there.
I most definitely agree. I have that experience when I listen to Jimi Hendrix. I'm sorry, I totally have that type of experience when I listen to him. Music is, I mean, it plays in your emotion, when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're, all those things, it gets you through it. And I mean, like I said, Jimi Hendrix, among others, but his guitar playing just takes me to another world, honestly.
And it's amazing that in many of our rituals, we've stopped using music so much. A lot of rituals now and I know now we can't do it online because you got to get all the permissions and all the silliness that goes along with it. But I've always had music in my rituals when we did them, in person, because even if you don't know the word, your foot starts tapping, you get into that mode and you're there.
Well, just think about what drumming does for ritual, and just, oh my gosh,
I keep a bongo drum in my trunk because you never know when a drum circle is going to break out. Especially
there you go.
So,
hey, look, I know you guys. All right, that area is known for its drum circles. You guys have like massive.
Yes, there are some excellent drum circles in New Jersey.
I envy that. When I was in Baltimore, I've been to a couple of New Jersey drum circles, and I was like, I thought we had good in Baltimore. No.
You'll get there, and they'll be like 30, 40 people deep.
And they're all perfect. It's like, you sit there, and it's like, oh, my God, they're all synchronized. And you're like going, oh, my God. When you hear some of them, where I'm from, it's like your little toddler with the pot and pans in the kitchen beating on. That's...
It's like a kindergarten class with all the toy drums and toy.
Yes, but New Jersey has some freaking awesome drum circles. You guys are like the king of drum circles, and I absolutely love it because the drums music in general, when you're chanting or meditating on music, we use sound for all of that, and it's just like, that is the most awesome thing. It can either put you in the mood or take you out of a bad one and put you into a better one.
See, I've been toying around with something. I have this song on my first album called The Journey, a hip hop meditation, right?
Yes.
And the lyrics to this song literally take you to the point. It's literally walking you into a meditation. And then I say, now go explore. And I let the beat run for like 16 bars. Now, for the live version of that, I have a version of that where that beat is running for like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And then
see,
I
and
bring
that's
everybody
something-
back. You know, it's something that is quite experimental. I don't know how it would work out, but you know, I do need some guinea pigs to try it. But
Yeah,
you
we'll
know,
have to
so
capture you from New
look me up,
Jersey and bring you
let me know.
down.
Maybe one
Yeah.
day I will be able to get down there from.
We'll
up here.
have to bring you down and just, you know, get you in one of those. I could just visually see where it's happening and the groups and the people that will be there. So it would be like super awesome. Oh my God, don't tell the neighbors. We'll get her run right out of the neighborhood there.
Well, you know, as
That
soon
would-
as this pandemic passes and everything starts opening back up and all of that, I mean, I am definitely looking forward to getting out on the road. Over this year since I've released this album, I have met a lot of people, and I have been speaking online with a ton of people, working on a lot of projects, and really been doing a lot of work in the greater pagan community. And it's something that I always wanted to get into. It's something I always wanted to do to help out with the greater pagan community. So absolutely, when this is done, I look forward to coming down that way. And
Oh, we would love to host you. Wouldn't that be awesome? Of course, we'd run every neighborhood we were in, but we'd love it. Never
So
let
speaking
pagans
of-
loose.
Speaking of, before we play ours and sort of tie up the show here, tell people about that want to be able to find your music. Tell them where they can find your stuff, and also you have a podcast. So
yes, I do.
kind of tell people all about your stuff.
Okay, so let me go ahead and pitch all of my stuff. It's going to take me
All of
about
it.
10 minutes. No. All right, so first things first, when I was talking about helping out in the greater pagan community, one of the things that I do is I make YouTube videos about pagan musicians on international pagan radio. So if anybody wants any information on any of those musicians, or if you're a pagan musician and you're watching this, let me know, because I make artist spotlight videos and do interviews with artists for International Pagan Radio. You can check that out on the International Pagan Radio YouTube channel. I also have a podcast called Witchcraft Grenade, which is a humorous and fun podcast. We focus, like, our main rule is to have fun, but we do have guests on. We talk about, you know, pagan topics, and, you know, if you're an author and you come on, we will talk about your book, but we usually end up going off on a million tangents and just having a good time with each other, because it's really awesome to be that loose, to be able to talk to people. And the podcast, one of my favorite things about it is because you get to learn the person behind what it is that they're pitching.
Exactly.
You know, instead of just, we're going to talk about the book and that's it, we're getting to know the person behind it. That is something that I think is very important, to know who you're buying from when you're buying things. So, and the podcast is also there for, you know, people, you know, like us that have shows, that have these things, that are musicians or whatever, to be able to have their voice and speak on it. And while we're talking about it, I would also like to personally invite both of you ladies to come on the podcast at some point next year, and we could do that, you know, at some
would be
point this year,
wonderful.
so to say. Right now, I think we're booked out through April.
Cool.
But we can definitely set something up for later in the year for you ladies to come on and talk about tea time. You know?
I would love that. I'd have to, well, Melinda and I could get together, and that show on the road for me, I'd come over to Jacksonville and we'd sit there. You could interview both of us together. It'd be
That would
easy.
be excellent. That would be excellent.
That
Or we could do it through Zoom, however you want to do it.
See, this gives me another excuse to go to Jacksonville. You don't understand. I have to have an excuse. Like this month, we're going to talk a little bit about why I'm going to be there next weekend. And then, you know, I don't want to wait till April. So we'll figure out something in between. And then when April comes, I'll have to be out there for your show, of course. I mean, I you know, or June or July or whenever your show is. See?
Yeah, whenever that is.
That's how
you
that
just
works.
let me know and I'll make sure I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
But absolutely. And on the music side of things, first off, everybody that has reached out to me about my music, and a lot of the people in the Karelian tradition have done an absolute lot. And there's a lot of people who have been reaching out to me. I've met a ton of people. I just want to actually thank every single one of you out there for listening to my music, for inviting me into your cute little family here and all that. And, you know, because I've recently joined the tradition myself, I really it means a lot to me, you know, that I've met so many people and I have so many people reaching out and so much support, you know. So if you want to find my music and check it out, you can check it out at Cloud Raps Wicca, all one word, at bandcamp.com. That's my Bandcamp. You can buy it. And if you want a physical CD, I will ship it to you myself. You know, you can do that through Bandcamp. If not, it is available on every streaming site you can name of. So you can find me on any streaming platform. You can just Google me and it'll bring up links to be able to find it. I also have a new single that I just released last month called Original Pagan, which is a very old school vibey song talking about me being an original as an individual myself, not so much like I'm some OG pagan, more I'm an original person. You know, there's not a whole lot of pagans out there running around with khaki pants with flat brim hats on, and you know what I mean? Like I'm my own person, you know, and that's what that song depicts. And so it's very much, you know, I honestly never thought that I'd be having anything released to begin with. So, you know, I feel that the gods have truly blessed me with all of this. And you know, so if you want to check it out, by all means. If you don't like it, that's cool too. You know, I put the album on sale purposely for $10. So that way, if you take a shot on it and you don't like it, you only wasted $10. So
there you go.
I think that's very reasonable, but I will say I think it's worth $10 for all of you.
Well, thank you.
And your podcast is on?
It's on Red Circle. But you can find it on Spotify, Apple. You can find it anywhere. You search up Witchcraft Grenade, it'll come up all over the place. Like us on Facebook, because we are currently on a pretty crazy meme campaign where I've been making a ton of memes, like witchy memes, and posting them up there. And I've been having an absolute blast with that too. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for that information. I hope you all will go out and find his stuff because it's amazing. And if you want to go ahead and queue up our little breadcrumb to sort of wrap things up.
Yes.
And I think Pam is also going to close up with an in bulk thing from the Grimoire.
You got it. You got it. I already have it queued up. I just have to move it a little bit. All right. So I have to cut the beginning off. Because we're keeping this PG.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's hilarious what I actually say, and it's very true, but
people will hear it soon enough.
Yes.
Will be released.
Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen, mute myself, and run this here. Thank you so much for letting me do all this, by the way.
Oh, we love it.
Your family,
right.
Absolutely.
"21 seconds in before I can even play anything." It's great.
You claim you were authentic, but your ego's apparent. I'm just saying that the shoe fits wearing. Internet fame got you yearning for more. Got all these people listening, yo, respect your platform.
Right.
You claim you were authentic, but your ego's apparent. I'm just saying that the shoe fits wearing.
Just saying.
Internet fame got you yearning for more. Got all these people listening, yo, respect your platform. I'm not trying, yo, to start another witch war. Things need to be said, so let me have the floor. All glammed up pretty, but you just a distraction. Only worried about your internet traffic. All about your ego, you forgot about your message. Spouting out nonsense, got your followers guessing. Now I'll be sure to like and subscribe when I find some real person somewhere in your vibe.
That was cool.
Nice. I'm excited.
Got some good, really good music coming up. And
So-
I know I've heard a lot of your songs because I do have your album. I'm on Bandcamp now ordering your album.
Oh, well, thank you.
So, yeah, I'm still old school. I like to have the physical things so I can play it when I want to hear it.
Well, as soon as the USPS gets it to you, you'll have it. I've had a few instances with the United States Postal Service where it has taken like 2 weeks for me to get the CD to them, even though I mailed it. And I'll give a tracking number and all of that through Bandcamp. And it's still, but you know what? That is
Par for the course.
That's kind of the way things are right now. You know,
exactly.
UPS doesn't have Prime, or it's going to have it at your doorstep at 8 a.m. You know, so
yeah, that's the whole problem. It does not have Prime. No, but we've the supply chain. I work with supply chains in what I do, and I know that I work all over the world. So I am dealing in 30 different countries, and supply chains all over the world are screwed up. Sometimes you can get it in a day, and sometimes it's like 2 weeks, and you're like, I got it yesterday in a day. Today it's 2 weeks, and it's a supply chain that we've had issues with, unfortunately. But hopefully it gets a little bit better. I can say USPS hasn't been too bad, all things considered. And I know they're going crazy with all the good stuff that they have to ship out normally on a normal day.
Absolutely.
And Amazon is going nuts. So I see the trucks everywhere. It's like, why?
They're only a few steps away from having their own private military and having corporate sovereignty.
I'm really thinking, I'm feeling that way. As scary as it sounds, it kind of sounds like that's what's happening nowadays. You know, everybody's going to be doing Amazon Prime.
Yep.
You know, but
well,
yeah,
they're so awesome having you, and I'm sure we'll have you again sometime, especially when the second album rolls around. But I want to thank you so much for your time and sharing your talents and the information. And that's awesome, and I love you.
This is on Bandcamp, so if you guys want to follow, this is Bandcamp. It's a free app you can download. I find it absolutely wonderful because I can actually listen to music I like on it. You know, it's getting a lot of, believe it or not, there's a lot of pagan songs on Bandcamp. It seems to be like the thing. Mama Gina's on there, S.J. Tucker's on there. There's a lot of good music on there. And nowadays, I mean, there for a while we were downloading tunes to our phones, and then something happened, and now they're not on your phone anymore, and I could never find them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to find a teenager out here to figure out on my phone where
Well, fun fact, I actually made misconceptions on my cell phone, right? And
really?
When the phone went through that switch where like Google Play Music is now like YouTube and all of that, I am really glad that I moved all of the master tracks to my desktop before that happened, because I have lost all of them.
I have lost everything.
They're just lost in my phone. Like I can't even find them.
They're not in your phone anymore. Evidently, it went to something on YouTube, and I've not been able to figure it out. So now I'm going to get 400 emails to tell me how to figure it out. I appreciate that.
Yep, I'm sure I'm probably going to get a few too. Yep.
But I lost, like, I have, my playlist is absolutely bizarre because I like all genres of music. So I have everything from Patsy Cline, Rock of Ages with, you know, that whole 80s thing. And then I have all of my pagan music on it. Emerald Rose, S.J. Tucker, Mama Gina. I mean, you know, all of them. And it's like I go to play it, I plug my phone into the car, and it's like, lost my music, you know. And yeah, so somebody was sorely disappointed on our last road trip because I didn't have a lot of the CDs. I purchased them on my phone. So when I'm either waiting for one of my younger grandchildren to come over, or I'm going to snag one of the neighbor's young children over here to figure out my phone for me. Don't laugh, you know. My son used to do it all the time for me. Everybody thought my name was Damn Mom because that's all he ever said to me. Damn Mom, what'd you do now? So yeah, but we did lose all that music, and that was a shame because I think everybody had 1 million tunes on your phone.
Yeah, I had a ton on mine.
Yep.
All right, well, ladies, thank you so much.
No, we appreciate you coming on. This was awesome.
I love talking with you too. I really do. So yeah, at any time you guys ever want me to come on and hang out, you just say the word.
Ooh,
All right.
that's bad news because that's gonna
Don't
happen.
threaten us with a good time.
But yeah, I'll definitely be in touch, and we can set something up for you guys to come on the podcast as well.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
For that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Well, we'll
Okay.
talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And remember, everybody, to look for Cloud on Bandcamp as well as on YouTube. Pick it up there because you can hear some really good stuff. And trust me when I say it's not your normal rap. It's some really good stuff on there.
Yes.
So I highly, highly triple recommend his stuff. I really do. And look at me, you not expect me to like rap music. The one song that I listened to the music, and the one that really got me was just that one song off the Misconceptions album. The way he honored the goddess was Take a Look Around. And it touched me. I was like, wow, this doesn't happen.
Unexpectedly, right.
Yeah.
And a genre that you normally would never listen to.
I would never, ever, and I'll be the first to tell you, I would never have listened to his music. And even Ebony's music is wonderful, but until I first heard it, I don't know if I'm going to like it. When you get to be a certain age, there are certain songs that you resonate with, and a lot of the music, just like your parents yelled at you, turn that racket down.
Like if you're someone that loves classical, you're probably not going to be a metalhead. It's
right.
kind of
Exactly. Now I have enough weird background that I like classical, but still, it's that's not the genre I'm going to go to. I'm not going to go and look at rap music. Seriously. I'm not going to go.
The new stuff is a lot different than like we were saying, like the 90s. It's very different. Very different.
And his music has a story. I mean, and that was the most fascinating thing I saw was he tells a story. He gets facts across. He's giving you information. So it's not just like, some of the songs, I made this much money, I killed this person, I did this. It's, this is how life is, and this is what happens, and this is how you deal with it.
Right.
It's a little bit different. I really enjoyed his music. Like I said, I would have never in a million years, if you'd have handed that to me, I would have went, yeah, right. But once I started listening to it, it was like, holy cow, this is like really good stuff.
Well, that's the thing. For those of you that do not listen to hip hop or rap, check it out, because you never know. Pam's perfect example. I mean, it's very relatable. It's, it's storytelling. It's, wow, I don't do this. This is
every song is different on that album. They're not all the same. And I say that because I've listened to rap before. I mean, I have younger, generations around me. But a lot of it is the same stuff all the time. It's either the same
sound or right.
Right. And it's like, oh my God, if I have to listen to this one more time, how many more songs are on that album? And the whole album's like that.
Well, and even like now with like pop, a lot of the pop thing, I'll hear on the radio, they're sampling a lot of the old stuff, and the originality isn't there as much as it used to be, because they're sampling so much of the old school stuff. And it's like, I mean, it sounds awesome a lot of the times, and you're like, oh, that's kind of awesome. But at the same time, it's kind of like, ugh, like do something original, kind of like with the movies. Everybody's doing a remake. Nobody's writing an original movie anymore. It's like, come on.
I know there's original thoughts out there somewhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you're right. And a lot of it is the same stuff, where every song on that Misconceptions, and I listened to most of them, they were all different. So it's, if you don't like that one, go to the next song and see if you like that one, kind of thing. Yeah. And like I said, his stuff was, I super, super enjoyed it. And he is I have
the album. I love it.
He is such a person to talk to. He is so personable. He's really easy to talk to. I mean, doing an interview with him was like just talking to anybody, but he's
that's my buddy.
Really awesome. I really enjoy him, not just his music, but as a person, because he's not one of those, he just gets excited when people listen to his music. Yeah. And shout out to Ebony. I texted
Yes,
her and I let her
girl.
know we were playing the song, and she was so excited to hear it. It's like, oh my gosh. But that collaboration was awesome. I mean,
I know it. I know.
the music was really intriguing. Like I said, that's completely different. All the songs we heard today were like
Different.
completely different of each other.
Hmm.
So that's kind of unique in its own situation, because usually all the albums, all the songs sound the same. It's like they laid down one track and just did words to them.
Right. It's usually like one album will have like a theme musically, and they kind of all sound kind of the same, and then they kind of grab whatever that musician or artist is going through at the time is kind of,
Right.
but it all still sounds the same,
And then 6 months from now, or 6 years from now, you'll get the best of album, and that's the album you end up buying.
Right, right.
Okay, well, we still have a little bit of in-bulk, and in-bulk is like, oh my gosh, next week. It's very exciting. A lot of different groups are having in-bulk actually on the weekend, so you can zoom into a lot of the different groups that are having their rituals this weekend. Ours will be actually on the day itself, so it's going to be a Tuesday. Our times are always Eastern Standard Times, and I'm saying that now because sometimes we get confused in time zones and craziness. All of our rituals start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Now I know that's really early for the West Coast, but the West Coast can always catch us as we finish up the ritual. They can do it 9 o'clock their time, so they can play it again. But for in-bulk is also Candlemas, and Candlemas is awesome. And with Candlemas, we're talking about candles, and we're trying to entice the sun to come back again. That was the intent. So you light 1,000,000 candles. So if you really want to do a nice meditation, and I'm giving away a little secret, it's going to be one of the little acts of power that we're doing in our ritual. I'm going to tell you about a chakra meditation. You get the candles to match the colors of the chakra, which are red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, dark blue, and purple. And each one is associated with a planet or a god, however you interpret it. So you start your meditation and you just meditate on each chakra as you light the candle. This is a great way to do a chakra cleansing.
Wow.
Light the candle, and you're burning away all the nastiness in that chakra. You're burning off all the crap that you've collected. Now, trust me, we collect, our chakras need to be done, every 5 minutes nowadays. But for those of us who don't have that time, once a week is still a good theory. Red is Saturn. So when you're concentrating on that, you concentrate where your red is. Then your orange is Mars. Your yellow is the sun, of course. Green is Venus with the heart. Light blue is Mercury. Dark blue is the moon. And that's your third eye. And then, of course, your crown is purple, and the crown is Jupiter.
Nice.
So that's a nice little meditation. Also, if you light them, focus on it for a minute or two. And then as you light them all, they're all lit. When you start going back to not blow them out, but to cap them out, you can think that that's burning away all the little nastiness you've caught up. And when you douse that candle, it is taking away all the nastiness. It goes up in smoke with the rest of the candle flame.
I really like that.
That's a nice quick meditation. That's also a great one to do with the kids, because they can all participate in lighting the different colors. Now, if you really want to test them, tell each one of them they got to look up a little something about the planet that's involved or the chakra that's involved. This is an easy way to teach your children the chakras, teach them the planets and associations, and let them understand that, we need to clean out things every once in a while. Not just physically, but spiritually. We need to get in there, and start cleaning out thoughts and stuff that's holding us back. So that's just a little thought on in-bulk and the chakras. And since we're going into spring with in-bulk, and Candlemas is bringing us back to light, try lighting up those chakras and cleaning out from the winter. So that's a little one. That's a little quick one. Because now I've been telling you guys about the grimoire. People ask me, what is a grimoire? Does it have to be a book made out of human skin or some ridiculous stuff. No, I do. I'm cheap. I buy binders. I must have 400 binders. Each one has on it what it is. And the reason I do this is because I do a lot of different things. And if I don't keep it all separate, I get totally confused in what I'm doing. Ask Melinda, she's caught me on one of those days. So your binder can be, this is just for this show. I have another binder for the rituals that I'm doing online. I have another binder that I do for the paper that I write for. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And keeping it separate, when you pull the binder out, you look at it, your brain automatically goes to what that binder is about. So you've already shifted those gears, and it's not like you're looking for a piece of paper on your desk. You've already shifted gears. So everybody asks about a book of shadows. I'm not going to joke. I have binders and binders and binders. I'm moving next month to move a little bit closer to the water here in St. Pete. And that means I have to pack up all of this crap. I'm sitting here now. I know how many binders I have, people. But I recommend these. Remember, back in the day, paper was scarce. That's why we had books and we wrote all over them. But you get yourself a binder, you get little separators in there, and you start putting your stuff in there. The reason I do that, we give you little snippets here and there in the grimoire that you can actually, write down and put in a binder. We're going to be doing more and more as the holidays go through, and we'll be throwing up stuff on the screen so that you can print it off, and we'll try to put some stuff in the chat room. If nothing else, our stuff will be in our Facebook page. So you can just pop on our Facebook page. I will include the one I just showed you about the different chakra little meditation you can do, but it's something that you guys need to start putting together. You can never remember this stuff when you're trying to talk it over with somebody, but if you have it, wait a minute, they had it on that show, you can grab that binder and you can look at it and give you the information. There is so much information out there on the internet. A lot of it is misinformation, and there's a lot of people out there with Google PhDs. I'm going to tell you that they're not always that good. So I would like to make sure that you guys understand what we give out. The information here is true to the best of our ability. We research everything. We just don't come up with stuff on the show. Neither one of us are a Google PhD. And you're getting perspectives on different stuff too. So I would recommend everybody, we're going to throw more stuff on the Facebook page. Download it. Nothing I put up there, unless I specifically write that it's copywritten, it can be used and shared. And you don't teach your kids, somebody else is going to. So please take the information down.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for another awesome show. It was so great. Number 3 under our belts. Woohoo!
This is scary. We're getting this. Oh, and for all of those cool people that have our t-shirts, if you just take a picture of you in this wonderful, sexy t-shirt, throw it in our Facebook page. Don't have to put your name. Don't have, just where you're from, the state.
Or your face. You don't have to have your face if you don't want to.
Yeah, you can just do.
We want to see where our audience is from. So a little selfie with what state you're from would be awesome, so we can see where you guys are popping up around.
And those interested in the t-shirts, we will have prices of the t-shirts and the mugs up soon as we get a good price on them. So if you want one of our mugs, and if you have one, you can just take a picture of the mug and show us where you're from, because it's pretty exciting when we start seeing where everybody's at. And sending us those would be really cool for the Facebook page. Again, if you need to get a hold of us, our Facebook page. Melinda, how else? Email?
You can email at us. Yes, Thyme. So it's TEATHYME, like the herb, MC@gmail.com, or you can send us a message through our Facebook page, Thyme with Mother and Crone.
That's why she does the technical stuff. So I don't forget. Okay, well, we again want to thank Cloud for coming on. We want to thank Ebony for her work with Cloud, and we want to thank you, girl, for your little collaboration going on there. This is pretty cool.
I'll be adding it soon. I'm excited. It's a lot of fun. So
okay, well, we're all going to say goodbye until next week. So we hope you enjoyed the show.